Hello, Emmanuel Anglican Church family. Father Noah Lawson here. Today is the 7th day of our Jesse tree. I have a couple of passages of Scripture to share with you. The first is from Genesis, chapter 37, verses 12 through 14. Now his brothers had gone to graze their father's flock near Shechem, and Israel said to Joseph, "As you know, your brothers are grazing the flocks near Shechem. Come, I am going to send you to them." "Very well," he replied. So he said to him, "Go and see if all is well with your brothers and with the flocks, and bring word back to me." Then he sent him off from the valley of Hebron. Continuing with verses 23 through 28 of chapter 37. So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the ornate robe he was wearing. And they took him and threw him into the cistern. The cistern was empty. There was no water in it. As they sat down to eat their meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were loaded with spices, balm, and myrrh, and they were on their way to take them down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, "What will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood." His brothers agreed. So when the Midianite merchants came by, his brothers pulled Joseph up out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took him to Egypt. Continuing in chapter 45, verse 5. "And now, do not be distressed, and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here," said Joseph to his brothers, "because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you." Chapter 50, verse 20 of Genesis, Joseph said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Romans chapter 8, verse 28. "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." And Acts chapter 3, verses 13 through 15. "The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of our fathers, has glorified his servant Jesus. You handed him over to be killed, and you disowned him before Pilate, though he had decided to let him go. You disowned the holy and righteous one and asked that a murderer be released to you. You killed the author of life, but God raised him from the dead. We are witnesses of this." The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. The colorful coat symbol reminds us that Jesus also rescues his enemies. Jesus offers salvation to all people. Have a blessed 7th day of Advent.